This man learns that his sister and brother-in-law have been killed in a horrific car accident and that only one person has survived. While he is grieving, a mysterious woman arrives to comfort the innocent child. She is none other than his brother-in-law's sister, who has come to take the child with her. But the man stops her and tells her that his sister has entrusted him with the child's care in her will. The woman is unconvinced. When she insists, the man threatens to call the cops if she doesn't release the child. The situation escalates to a point where the two confront each other. The child wants to stay with his aunt, but Kyan and his assistant forcibly take him with them. Upon reaching home, the child becomes uncontrollable and causes everyone's distress because he misses his aunt so much that he doesn't want to live in this unfamiliar environment. Suddenly, the same woman appears with a suitcase and insists that she will stay to care for the child. Kyan looks into her innocent eyes and is momentarily swayed, but he still tells his assistant to throw her out of the house. But she says the child is going through a great deal of trauma and needs someone he knows. This touches Kyan's heart, and he allows her to stay for just one night. But he also issues a stern warning. If she tries to run away with the child, the consequences will be dire. That night, while the woman is putting the baby to sleep, Kyan begins playing the piano. Upon hearing the music, the woman is drawn to him as if under a spell of love. She stares intently at him, as if possessed by Kyan. Later, Kyan's assistant gives him information about the woman. Her name is Lena. She has lived abroad for many years and is still a virgin. Despite this, Kyan doesn't trust her. His assistant explains that raising a child is no easy task, and Lena's presence is essential in this household. But no one knows that Lena has other intentions. While she's caring for the baby, she begins searching for the safe, which contains a large sum of money. She discovers that Kyan's on-the-go door is locked with a password. She takes out her makeup kit and applies powder to the screen with a brush, searching for fingerprints. Once she figures out the password, she begins to enter. Suddenly, the doorbell rings. She quickly wipes the powder off the screen. She descends the stairs and finds Kyan has sent her a parcel. But it's not a gift, but a pretext to keep her under close surveillance, as Kyan has installed secret cameras throughout the house. Lena thought Kyan would leave her alone, but the truth is that he's watching her every move. A little while later, Kyan catches her rummaging around his office safe, and though Lena pretends to be innocent, Kyan is convinced she's hiding something. He opens the safe himself, and Lena immediately takes a peek inside to see what's inside. But instead of money, she finds Kyan's eyes, shining with love. With a feeling of butterflies surrounding her, Kyan gently asks, "Why are you so close to me?" Lena quickly replies that she leaned in because there was an insect on her head. Just then, Kyan's friend arrives and laughs at the sight of them. He finds their chemistry endearing, but Lena immediately clarifies that there's no love between them. After this argument, Lena sees the child's nanny raising her hand on him. Without a second thought, she runs into the house with Gawain, and before the nanny can do anything else, they both catch him. The child cries, and Lena embraces him. He snaps at the nanny, saying that raising hands on a child is the most cruel act. She tries to explain, but Kyan bluntly explains that, according to the Child Protection Act, hitting a minor can result in 1 to 5 days in jail. He warns her that if she doesn't apologize to the child right now, he will send the entire recording to the cops. Trembling with fear, the nanny apologizes to the child and runs away as if someone had left a firecracker behind. Then, together, they put the child to sleep, and Lena sincerely thanks Kyan for protecting the innocent child. Chi-Yan also believes that Lena has helped him a lot, and then the idea comes to him. Why not keep Lena here permanently to care for the child, as if she were his mother? Lena agrees, but on the condition that she be paid at least a minimum salary, and that Kyan promise not to try to kiss her unless she herself wants to. Kyan pretends to be uninterested in Lena and accepts the condition. That night, he sees Lena sleeping with the child. But then the child suddenly wakes up and starts wandering around the house, making it clear that he is a sleepwalker. When Chin puts the child back to sleep, he sees Lena sleeping on the floor, looking absolutely innocent and beautiful. He picks him up in his arms, but suddenly loses his balance, and they fall, their lips meeting for just a split second. But in that moment, it's like a flash of lightning. A moment later, Lena is startled to see him. He's just come out of the bathroom, unconditionally, and his intentions were clear, to make Lena's heart flutter by showing off his abs. He then reveals that he spent the entire night with the child because he was afraid he might fall while sleepwalking. Both become worried about the child's condition and decide to take him to a doctor. After a medical checkup, the report reveals that the child has suffered a severe mental trauma, and the doctor prescribes some sedatives. Meanwhile, Lena discovers that Kyan himself is a patient of the same psychologist. But why? This question lingers in her mind, and she finds the answer that very night. Suddenly, the weather turns bad. A violent storm brews, and as lightning flashes, Kyan, terrified, runs straight to his room, ducks into a large box, and begins screaming in pain. Lena sees him this way for the first time and can't understand what's happening. She goes to ask him, but Kyan, determined to maintain his image of a perfect man, yells at her and chases her away. Lena quietly leaves, unsure of what to do. While Kyan sits in the box, he remembers his mother's death, that terrible day when she was burned alive in a fire. The next morning, Kyan locks the box and leaves to buy his child's favorite candy at the store. Meanwhile, Lena is at home cooking for him, but suddenly a crucial ingredient runs out, and she calls Kyan to ask him where the flour is. But Kyan is at a loss. To him, every kitchen item seems the same. Finally, Lena teases him, asking how he's lived his entire life when he doesn't even know which thing is which. A little while later, Kyan returns, carrying a pile of shopping bags and a look of anger on his face. Lena tells him to wash his hands and change his clothes first, but Kyan angrily replies, "You don't have the right to order me around. This house is mine, and I don't consider anyone superior to me." But as the atmosphere heats up, everything suddenly changes. The three go on a surprise trip to an amusement park. There, Lena and Kyan enjoy each other's company, smiling, and their bond slowly deepens before the child's eyes. Those moments are magical. But when it's time for the roller coaster, Kyan begins to tremble with fear. After calming down, he admits to being afraid of heights, and the child smiles and says, "I'm scared too." The three of them laugh heartily, and during the meal, Lena gifts him a special bear hat. But Kyan feels a little awkward. He thinks Lena will never like him after wearing this hat. But then he realizes that sometimes small sacrifices must be made for the ones he loves. He pretends to be a hungry bear in front of the child, which makes everyone laugh. But soon, the smile on his face gives way to pain. He starts itching and crying. Everyone thinks he might have frightened the child, but the real problem was something else. The dessert he ate contained apples, and Kyan is allergic to apples. Without wasting any time, he is immediately rushed to the hospital. Then a big revelation is made. The waiter who served the dessert was actually a fake, and this was all a planned murder attempt. Both of them feel guilty for not being able to protect the child. But even during this difficult time, Kyan lovingly tells Lena that she's a wonderful mother and a wonderful person with an amazing personality. He then pays the entire hospital bill himself and plans a special surprise for the child. When the child recovers, Kyan, along with Lena, shows him all his favorite toys from his old home. The child is overjoyed, and his sad face brightens. This moment marks a turning point not only for him, but also for Kyan and Lena's relationship. Lena gradually begins to gravitate towards Kyan and affectionately calls him tsundere, a Japanese term for someone who is tough and rough on the outside, but soft and loving on the inside. Just like Kyan, however, this journey of love also faces some conflict when their visions clash over raising the child. Lena wants the child to be protected from the harshness of the world and educated at home. Kyan, on the other hand, believes the child should mingle with the other children, even if it's a little difficult. Finally, they take him to kindergarten. But upon reaching there, the child starts crying and, terrified, reveals that his mother died in school, which is why he's now afraid of school. Hearing this, Kyan becomes extremely worried and immediately speaks to the school teachers to ensure they take special care of the child. At home, Lena has prepared a special meal, as this is the first time she's been alone in a long time. While eating, their chemistry is on a different level. There's love in their eyes and fire in their hearts. But as soon as she returns to school, he's heartbroken. She sees three boys making fun of her nephew, teasing him about his motherlessness. She yells at the children, "I'll call your parents, then you'll see how I'll scold you." Immediately, she calls Kyan and tells him everything. When she reaches the school staff room, she hears the principal say that Kyan himself told them not to overprotect the child so that he can learn to manage his own life. Hearing this, Lena's anger soars to the sky. She immediately packs her things and decides to leave the house. But Kyan stops her. He explains that he did all this for the child's well-being because he loves him deeply and has now come to consider him his own son. Then he reveals another shocking secret. He says that Lena's brother, her husband, killed her sister. Kyan shows her a report from a casino. Lena's brother, deeply in debt, had planned his sister's death in advance. The accident was a planned murder, but the plan backfired and both of them died. Lena refuses to accept this truth. She believes her brother could never have done such a thing, but the truth is evident. Kyan can no longer control himself. He says he loves Lena deeply, but now that he knows his brother's truth, he's afraid to give his heart to her. A fight ensues and Kyan throws Lena out of the house. Witnessing this, the child breaks down in tears. Kyan is overcome numb with remorse. It's raining heavily, and he has a severe headache, but he leaves everything and sets out to find Lena. Meanwhile, Lena walks alone on the wet streets, heartbroken and her eyes brimming with tears. She's experiencing a pain that even her enemy wouldn't experience. But then suddenly, like the climax of a movie, Kyan appears and embraces her. He gives her his warmth. He becomes her support. Lena tries to push him away and fight, but Kyan keeps repeating the same thing over and over. Come home, come back to your family. When Lena says that ever since her brother passed away, she has no home, no one who cares about her, Kyan immediately gives a touching reply. He says that he and his nephew think about making her happy every day and that they both love her very much. In this emotional atmosphere, Kyan can't help but speak his heart out and leans in and kisses her. Lena, too, feels love for the first time. Her soul lights up because she had never felt love, and Kia becomes the first boy who has touched her heart. But then the child appears with a sword, like a little superhero, and promises to protect his aunt from any harm. Seeing this, Kyan kneels down and promises, I will never hurt your aunt nor you. Later, Lena puts him to sleep, and they share their heartfelt secrets. Kyan apologizes and is about to kiss her again when a powerful storm erupts. His breath catches, as if fear has taken away his voice. Lena tries to reassure him that he will always be safe in her arms. Just then, another lightning strikes, and Lena asks, why are you afraid of so much lightning? And then Kyan reveals the deepest wound in his heart. He explains that the day his mother died, there was a similar fierce storm in the sky, and now, whenever he hears the sound, those moments flash before his eyes. He considers hiding in that black box again, but this time, Lena's love stops him. Just then, his assistant hands Lena a report on the car that killed her brother. According to the report, the cause of the accident was a brake failure, but the most alarming thing was that the car belonged to none other than Kyan himself. Now, they both hide this truth from him, fearing that if Kyan finds out, he will never forgive himself. But Kyan senses something is wrong. Even in a meeting, his attention repeatedly wanders to Lena. He tells his assistant that his girlfriend is hiding something from him, but the assistant jokingly says, brother, you're completely in love. When Kyan returns home, Lena meets him at the door and says, I'll be right back. But as soon as she leaves, Chin asks his nephew, son, tell me, what secret is your aunt hiding? As soon as the child covers his mouth, Chin understands that something really big is hidden. Because the child has promised not to tell anyone, Kyan puts on his favorite thing, a cute bear hat. Seeing this, the child melts and agrees to tell him the truth. He takes Kyan to his aunt's room where some papers are kept, and from those papers, a secret that shakes everything is revealed. The accident that took Lena's sister's life was actually caused by Kyan's car's brakes failing. Kyan is inconsolable, and then he receives a call from Lena. She is frightened because a man is chasing her in the dark. Kyan immediately sets out to find her and brings her safely back home. The child is overjoyed to see them, but then begins a fierce confrontation. Kyan doesn't hide it any longer. He bluntly declares that he now knows the truth about the incident. Hearing this, Lena retorts that sometimes fate has no control over life, but he's made his decision. He says he's booked a flight to the UK for Lena and her nephew so they can escape and start a new life. Hearing this, Lena embraces him tightly as if to say, I'll never let you leave you. Her love overflows, but Kyan's eyes still hold only pain. He says, if you stay here until morning, you'll have to go. A painful atmosphere reigns, and then Lena silently bids the child goodbye, telling him to obey his new father. But then she remembers a storm brewing outside, and she runs to the room where the black box was kept. Upon reaching there, she sees Kyan hiding inside, broken and shattered inside. Lena slowly approaches him, embraces him, and kisses his forehead tenderly, as if to fill him with her comfort. Kyan feels this affection deeply. When Lena leans in to kiss him, the child enters the room and grabs him by the hands of his hands. They quickly make the excuse that they were just playing hide and seek, but the child innocently says, you two look so cute together. I wish you could be my mom and dad. Hearing this, Kyan makes a drastic decision. He picks up the box, a symbol of his sorrow, and takes it to an abandoned house and buries it deep in the ground forever. But when they investigate the accident thoroughly, a shocking truth comes to light. The brake failure wasn't Kyan's fault. Someone else deliberately sabotaged the car's brakes. This means someone else was the real culprit behind his sister's death. Upon learning this, Kyan and Lena pursue a suspicious man hiding in a deserted village. As soon as they reach his house, the man quickly flees. Kyan and Lena chase him and, using a shortcut, catch him. But they don't know that another danger awaits them. A serial killer is also stalking the same man, and just as they begin to question him, the killer sneaks up from behind to attack. Kyan quickly delivers a powerful kick, temporarily knocking the attacker away. Then begins a fierce battle. Kyan dodges each knife attack, but there comes a moment when the knife is just centimeters away from his throat. The killer tries to stab him with all his might, but Kyan manages to push him away. But then the attacker looks at Lena, who stands helpless. She runs towards him, but Kyan intervenes and takes the blow himself, risking his own life to save Lena. The killer flees, and Kyan falls to the ground, bleeding but alive. Lena cries and embraces him. He is immediately rushed to the hospital where he undergoes surgery. Sometime later, when Kyan regains consciousness, Lena is there. Holding his hand, praying for his life, she smiles and says, "Thank you to this life that didn't take you back from me." Then together, they try to find out who the killer really was. Is it a crazy lover or a money-hungry enemy? Just then, their beloved child enters the room. Seeing him brings a new light to the atmosphere. His innocent face gives them both courage. Lena smiles and tells the child that it's time for adults and they're left alone. Love in her eyes, longing in her heart. She feeds him and lovingly strokes his hair. A peaceful moment that feels like a scene from a movie. Night falls and Lena is afraid to leave him alone. She feels as if her life might be in danger again, so she decides to sleep with him. The next morning, Chin is awakened by a stranger's voice. They wonder if it's the same murderer, but no, it's a foreigner. But his behavior is strange. He speaks in a very arrogant manner and then goes too far. He starts flirting with Lena. But without wasting a moment, Lena replies, "Yan is my boyfriend." The man is surprised and asks, "Do you love him for his personality or because he has so much money?" Lena replies without hesitation, "I love him because of the way he looks at me, because he has a loving heart. And when I'm with him, it feels like every day is the first light of dawn, an endless, peaceful morning." Now, their bond has grown so strong that it's tighter than strong adhesive, and the child cries with joy. They both love each other, which makes them both feel a little embarrassed. That night, Lena's birthday is celebrated, and Kyan gives her a gift. A green, curly-haired rabbit, exactly like the one her brother gave her before his death. Lena becomes emotional, tears welling up in her eyes as memories of her brother flood back. Suddenly, Kyan receives a call. The name on the caller ID is Lena, but the real surprise is that her phone is in the room upstairs. So who's making this call? They both quietly go upstairs and listen carefully. A strange sound comes from the bathroom. They open the door and find a suspicious yellow box lying there. Kyan picks it up, and as he thinks to open it, Lena panics and says, "Wait, it might contain a bomb." Then they both huddle around it, confused about what to do. After much thought and tension, Kyan gently opens the box, and to his relief, it doesn't explode. Inside emerges a USB flash drive. When he turns it on, the screen shows Lena's brother dragging Kyan's sister's body. This means she was murdered before the accident. Seeing this, Lena's heart aches for her brother, for herself, for everything. But Kyan immediately calms her down, saying, "It's not your fault. Your brother's blood was poisonous, but your heart is like an angel. He knows Lena is a good person." They sleep together that night, finding comfort in each other's presence. The next day, Kyan immediately installs a special lock system to protect the house from thieves and promises to have security guards around the house to prevent this from happening again. But as soon as Lena opens the door, the ground collapses, as Kyan has gone to pick flowers, and a thief has entered the house behind him. The man grabs Lena by the throat, but Lena is no less. She pushes him away forcefully and quickly runs upstairs. There, she finds her nephew and hides him inside the toilet. Then, she removes the GPS tracking bracelet from his hand and hides it so that Kyan can find him if anything happens to him. Because now the fight is not just for his life, but for the safety of the entire family. As soon as Lena exits the bathroom, the thief attacks her, striking her hard on the neck, so hard that she faints. Now the child is crying loudly, and Kyan asks her for any clues to help him find Lena. The child tells him about his tracking watch, and with its help, Kyan finds her location. As he enters an abandoned old factory, a mysterious voice greets him, and he finds Lena tied up with a rope. The man standing there looks like a complete psycho, a maniac who would make even the sight of him tremble. Kyan shouts angrily, "Come out and tell me who you are!" And then the man reveals his face, and Kyan's eyes widen. It was his assistant, his friend, his most trusted man. Kyan can't believe it. Then the truth begins to unfold. The assistant reveals that this whole story began with Kyan's father, who was responsible for his father's death. In fact, during a terrible fire, Kyan's father gave the mock-season mask to his own son, leaving his father to die. As a result, both fathers died, but Kyan survived. He went on to live, finding a good job, love, and everything. Meanwhile, his friend burned inside. He had a plan for revenge, and today that day has come. When Chin apologizes, he becomes even more furious. Grabbing her by the throat, he declares, "Your apologies won't change anything." And now comes the biggest twist. The video showing Lena's brother dragging Kyan's sister's body wasn't real. It was an actress and this psycho assistant. All the papers claiming Lena's brother was the murderer were fake. The truth was that Kyan's sister and her husband truly loved each other. There was no conflict between them. The real villain was this crazy man who twisted the story. Hearing this truth, Kyan is devastated. He falls to his knees and pleads, "Please don't harm my girlfriend." Just as the psycho killer is about to put a knife to Lena's neck, the girl screams, "You've gone mad." Then she looks at Kyan and says, "I like you, and even if I die today, know that I loved you like crazy." But the killer, enraged, tells her to shut up. At that moment, Kyan has only one idea to provoke him. He starts abusing the lunatic. He continues to provoke him, and his plan works. The killer shifts his focus from Lena to Kyan. A fierce fight ensues. A barrage of punches erupts between them. Kyan doesn't hold back, landing powerful punches. Lena screams in pain as the rope tightens around her body. Then comes the move that turns the tables. Kyan lands a powerful elbow, shattering the lunatic's jaw. Now he will have to eat through a straw for the rest of his life. Kyan then runs to free his girl, scooping her up in his arms and carrying her out of the factory. From behind, the lunatic yells, "Kill me!" Kyan completely ignores her. The murderer, defeated, goes to the same rope and, fearing life in prison, ends everything. Some time later, Kyan arrives at the hospital, flowers in hand, where Lena is still in a coma. Days have passed, but she hasn't regained consciousness. Kyan is devastated by her unconsciousness. He holds her hand and reminds her of all the moments they spent together. He says, "These were the most beautiful moments of my life, and I want to spend thousands more years with her." As he holds her hand, it's as if his love reaches Lena through his soul, and then a miracle happens. Lena's eyes slowly open. Kyan happily holds her hand tightly. All she wants now is the warmth of her family. Lena has understood that life is too short and should only be spent with those who bring joy, love, and comfort, not pain. Then they make a promise to each other, to be together forever and never let each other feel alone. A few days later, in a sweet ceremony, they remember their brothers they lost in the accident and promise never to forget them. Then comes the moment when Kyan closes Lena's eyes and takes her to a very special place. As soon as she opens her eyes, Kyan is standing in front of her with a ring in his hand, ready to propose. And then suddenly, Kyan takes her hand and says in a very emotional tone, "Before I met you, I was like a living dead. I was living without any purpose, but now my life has only one purpose, to keep you happy and make you feel like the most special and beautiful woman in the entire universe." During this time, we get a glimpse of all the moments that connected this beautiful love story. And then, with a smile, Lena replies, "If life comes only once, I want to spend it with you." She agrees to marry him. Kyan puts the ring on her finger, and they both promise to love each other unconditionally for the rest of their lives. At that very moment, the child innocently says, "Now that you two are getting married, I want you to be my parents." And in that very moment, the three of them become a loving family. Watching this scene truly fills the heart. One feels like getting married because the love in their eyes is what truly defines a home that everyone seeks. And after all this, Kyan says from the heart, "Loving you is the greatest blessing of my life." And if you liked this story, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon to make sure you don't miss the next video. I'm adding more great videos that you'll surely enjoy. Thank you so much for your time. See you in the next episode.